What's up, guys? It's Stephanie from Empowered by Her Picket Fence. And this week, I'm going to be dropping my latest relationship advice for women. Listen, it's time for us to get in the driver's seat and take control of this situation so that we are not wasting our time and we are not getting played by the players. And I'm going to give you the straight tea on all of my latest relationship advice that every woman can use. I don't care if you're Gen X, if you're millennial, Gen Z, it doesn't even matter. This is going to be for everybody because we know that the dating game is not a straight line. So I'm going to give you the empowerment that you need to win in the dating game. Okay. So today I'm going to be giving you 3 key relationship tips that will help change the dating game for you. And keep listening because at the end of the show, I'm also going to give you 3 types of guys that you need to watch out for because they could potentially waste your time. And time is so valuable. We are not here to take shorts, are we? No. All right. So let's get into it. My first dating tip, and I think this is the most important one, okay? Once you get this tip, everything will flow harmoniously, okay? The first tip is show up as your authentic self. I like to present what I call the masterpiece theory. And that is that we, as the creation of a higher power, are already a masterpiece. And when you believe that you are amazing just as you are, there is no need for you to show up as anything other than your authentic self because you are celebrating yourself. You realize that you are an imperfect being, but one that has value, flaws, and all. And when you're able to lean into the idea and the reality that you are a masterpiece as is, you are able to freely lean into everything that makes you you and present that to another person from a position of confidence and a position of inner strength. So when you go out on the dating scene, always show up as your authentic self because you are unique and there is no one just like you. And the person that is for you will accept you for everything that you are, not everything they want you to be, but who you are today. And if you stand in the power that is you and the fact that there is only one you, you are an original. You move into that relationship or potential relationship, or even from the very first date, from a very powerful position. You're not compromising yourself. You're not compromising your values. You're not trying to be someone that you are not. You are totally standing in the greatness that is you. So I encourage you as you go out onto the dating scene to bring yourself to the date. Bring yourself to the date and you will be pleasantly surprised at what you get, I promise you. And guess what? The person that can't receive it, the person that sees things that about you that they're not okay with, that's not somebody you will want to be with anyway. So most important thing, show up as your authentic self and I promise you everything else will flow. Number 2, set a pace that you are comfortable with when you're dating. And when I'm saying that, I mean set a pace where things are unfolding in a way where you don't feel crowded, you don't feel rushed, or you also don't feel like it's going too slowly. Sometimes if a relationship isn't making any progress in a meaningful way, that's not good either. So the tempo needs to be right for you. And unfortunately, historically, in my opinion, I think men have basically been in control over the pace of the relationship. And a lot of us as women are left to say, well, okay, well, what are we? Are we in an exclusive relationship yet? Like you tell me. And it really doesn't feel good to be not even in the passenger seat, but in the back seat where someone else, their timeline and their pace is driving everything, all the decision making. So set a pace you're comfortable with. And you can do that by first making sure that you have the appropriate boundaries in place and that you don't feel overwhelmed by the relationship, that you see the person when you're comfortable seeing with them and it's not based on what they have to do and them just fitting you in wherever, but also a pace where you don't feel like your time is being wasted either. So if that person is just stringing you along or dragging their feet in, it just doesn't feel good. You don't really have to sign up for that. You can find somebody else that's certain about whether they want to spend more time with you. So I think that's important too. Set a pace you're comfortable with and communicate it. Communicate it to the person that you're dating and they can decide they're either on board or they're not. So So, number one, show up as your authentic self. Number two, set a pace you're comfortable with. And the third thing, and this is a power one, ladies. The third thing is always pay attention to a man's actions versus his words. Okay, guys can talk and say a lot of things, but the question becomes, are they actually walking the walk? See, they know us so well by now, right? They have these lines, they roll out and see who bites, see who's going to take the line and, okay, got one. They know, all right? They say they value you, but do they show it? Do you feel valued? You need action, okay? Action is what has got to follow words, okay? Because if it doesn't happen, then it's not real, all right? So those are my 3 latest advice tips. I gave you what I think are the game changers. If you get these in place, I think it can really lend itself to a healthy dating situation for you. Number 1, show up as your authentic self. Number 2, set a pace you're comfortable with, using boundaries and also communicating what your real timeline is. And number 3, always look at their actions. Don't listen to their words. All right. I'm going to get into the 3 types of guys you need to avoid because these guys love to waste women's time. All right. Number 1, the guy that's uncertain about you. He doesn't know if he wants to be in a relationship that's exclusive. Some days, yeah, maybe. Some days, maybe not. He's not a good communicator. So you're just kind of hanging out. Who needs that? This guy is doing this because he can. So anyone that's uncertain about you is not the right guy for you. Avoid him at all costs. When he starts showing you that he's not really sure, cut your losses, not even worth your time. Number 2, the guy that's MIA. Okay, the guys that are missing in action for stretches of time, they are your future double lifers. When I say double lifers, I mean the guys that actually have the potential to have a whole different life going on with another woman and keep you in the picture as well. So if they're not really accountable in terms of where they're spending their time, you really don't know where he is most of the time, and he doesn't even offer you an explanation, just know that that can snowball into something much bigger later on. So don't even waste your time on somebody like that. So let's move on to our most troublesome candidate here, and that is the player. For him, it's a numbers game, and he likes to keep a lot of women around. So instead of being part of his roster of one of the women that he calls off the bench to play his games when he feels like it, like in a real basketball game, don't even bother. Don't even bother. You want to be with someone that sees you and only you. And on that note, ladies, I hope this helps you if you're in the dating game and you're looking to make your time count, because we have this one life and we need to spend it with people that treat us like the queens that we are. So on that note, thanks for hanging out with me, ladies. And if you love it, share it. All right, guys, meet me right back here next week. And don't forget to hit that follow button and leave a review. And tell all your friends, because the single girls just got the mic.